The human species is such a beautiful and amazing thing. The amount of self intelligence we have and ability to do so many things, to learn so many things, and incorporate them and build so many things is incredible. As a species, we have evolved to a point with this self intelligence, and I really think having five fingers and an opposable thumb has tremendously, tremendously allowed us to progress enormously as a species, technologically and in many other ways. We are, in fact, a rare, rare gem. Very amazing. Now, obviously, a lot of humans already know this, and they tend to get sort of elitist, arrogant thing. And just maybe one day, this might come crashing down on them when they find a species, maybe an alien species, who has more game in every single way than the human species. More intelligent, more technologically advanced, blah 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 blah. And then that elitist thing will come crashing down. But that's really not what I want to talk about today. I really want to talk about our progression in terms of technology as a species. And from the moment our species was able to think, to be self aware, to be self intelligent, it was almost game over. The moment we had all these tools to evolve, to progress, to reproduce, to sort of get better, it was almost game over. All we needed was time to grow, and we did grow. I mean, as if you look at the entire universe's history, we are but a blimp on the map. And yet, in that short time when our species was theorized to initially exist, and I don't care what your thoughts on the distant past or religion is involved. We know, if you must, just look at the surefire things that happened in the last 100 years, the last 200 years. People riding on horses, that we know for sure. People inventing trains. People before horses, people who had to sail on ships. People who died at the age of 20, which was the customary lifespan of a human back 200, 300, 400 years ago. And look at me now. Look at us now. I'm 20 and I'm still alive, and this is considered young. And so health, prevention from illness, all these things have advanced. And I really want you to look at it from a wide universe time span, maybe millions of billions of years, at least from the scientific community. That is what came before us. And if that is so, it is just a blimp on the map. We are but a 6,000, 7,000, maybe 10,000 year old species. If you don't agree with that, it doesn't matter, because the point I make is all the same no matter what your opinion is. And that's just that we are progressing tremendously fast. I mean, tremendously, tremendously fast. It's almost game over. And look at it this way. A few hundred years ago, we were running around, maybe riding on other animals, horses. And then we invented metal machines that could travel tremendous speeds, trains. Like it or not, they were just giant chunks of metal. And then automobiles, cars that can travel at even faster speeds. Well, not really. I mean, the trains now, 300, 400 miles per hour. But the point is, we got cars now. Then airplanes, And look at us now. We have computers, we have all this technologically advanced stuff. We're going into space. The world as we know it is changing. I mean, there was a time when we thought the Earth was the center of the universe. There's a time when we thought the Earth was flat. And people, just because they had no idea on the mysteries outside of what they knew, they were content. Everyone was content with the fact that they lived on a flat piece of land and it just extended out infinitely, and there's dark areas that they didn't know outside of their very small range. And soon that changed. They found that the world was curved, and then they got curious to see what was outside of that. And they found the moon and the galaxy and now the universe. And it's still going. It hasn't ended. Those who think that it's ended now, that we've discovered everything, are completely wrong. And they are in fact just like those people who are content with the fact that they live on a flat piece of land, a square or rectangular box of land that extends for maybe 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles, and they don't know what else is in the world, just that they lived on a flat piece of land and that there were dark areas around this piece of land, and they had a night sky. And it's not over. I mean, the same questions can be applied just on a much more macro scale. And that means, like, what is outside of the universe? Is there outside of the universe? If there's not, then what exactly is going on? What is space? What is time then? What came before the start of time? How can there be a start of time? Does time extend infinitely? How is infinity possible? And if infinity is possible, then what came before that? And all these questions, and then it's like, what is space time like? How is that conceivable if it warps to such a degree? But yeah, I'm getting too abstract here, sorry about that. So yeah, it's the same question. Like, before, we were discovering new lands and filling in the blank spots on the map of the earth, and now it's like the same thing. What's outside of the earth? What's outside of the universe? And quite frankly, we might never figure out the whole thing. We just don't know. And so here's the big message though. In such a short amount of years, maybe hundreds, thousands of years, we've developed to this certain point. And yet what I don't think a lot of people realize, because most people in my current generation are elitists, they don't really think too much. They're elitists, so they think we are on the top now. We are the modern generation. We are the futuristic, technologically advanced generation. We are so awesome. And then they're just content with that. They're content with everything, and they don't question anything. And they look back at the past, and that is where they get their superiority. But if you look to the future, you'll realize that we are still at just the start of a tremendous exponential rise in technology. I mean, look at this video that you're viewing me from. You're most likely viewing me from YouTube, which was invented a mere decade ago. And so think about this. This website, YouTube, was invented along with the internet decades ago, not even 100 years ago. And then just think down the road. what it's going to be like. This video is probably going to get about 30 views in the next year, judging from my other videos, and maybe by the time I die, 1,000 views. But then think about 100 years from now, 10 times the lifespan of the current age of YouTube. 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now. Imagine the tremendous amount of technological advancement 1,000 years from now. We are just on the cusp, the start of a huge technological journey. And as always, you should never be angry or frustrated. Oh, why was I born this generation? Why wasn't I born 1,000 years from now when everything was super advanced and we have hovercrafts and we can float and stuff, blah blah blah. Don't whine about stuff you can't control. Be thankful for what you have. But the point is, we are just on the cusp of a tremendous increase in technology, and time really matters, because maybe when I die this video will have 1,000 views, but think of it this way: what about 1,000, 10,000 years from this moment? This video might have reached possibly millions of descendants. I mean, that's so funny or strange to think of, because as of this moment, I'm a youth. I'm the generation that's hip, and I'm sure like maybe 1,000 years, 100 years, 30 years from now, they'll look at me and they'll think of me as some old geezer using slang terms, street terms, urban terms that they've never heard of, which is preposterous, because as of this moment it feels like I am the youth, the generation who is up to date with modern terms, which I am. But like it or not, 1,000 years from now, as people are watching this video, if it's still uploaded on YouTube, I don't know what's going to happen, but 1,000 years from now, this could be very, very different. I could be some old guy, some old prophet, some proverbial ancestor from 1,000 years ago. And it's funny because right now I'm just some youthful kid, some child. So yeah, think in the long run and just realize a lot can happen. And that's just crazy. Crazy to think what sort of tremendous, gifted, maybe ridiculously smart, talented, futuristic people are watching this video 1,000 years from now. And that is some scary stuff. And I just have to say that yeah, you futuristic kids are lucky. I mean, maybe you're living on some hovercraft utopia island, or it's a really rough, worse time, and it's something like the Terminator movies where the machines are taking over and you're living in a time of war. That would suck. But I guess you just have to be thankful for whatever you get, whatever you're born into. I mean, you couldn't be more thankful for at least getting something rather than nothing. And just live life, because I don't think anyone really has it confirmed what the whole deal is. But as a species, we are quite a gem. And so this is Will, and I'm signing off. I'll see you guys later.